Hey Falcons fans, we've got the latest behind-the-scenes news just for you. Today, we'll cover some of the team's biggest stars and the latest rumors about the future of the Atlanta Falcons. So stick around until the end to stay updated. And don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Let's start with our star wide receiver, Drake London. He's been getting a lot of respect from his teammate Bijan Robinson. And when I say a lot, I mean a lot. Robinson even called London the toughest player he's ever played with. That's a huge compliment, especially coming from someone as talented as Robinson. Here's what Robinson had to say. Drake is the coolest guy off the field, seriously. But when he steps on the field, he turns into a beast. He doesn't care who's in front of him. He just wants to dominate. He's different, man. And you know what? He's not wrong. London had an incredible 2024 season. Check 100 receptions, check 1,271 yards, check 9 touchdowns. That's elite. And if you add Robinson's insane stats, 1,456 rushing yards, 14 rushing touchdowns, plus 431 receiving yards, you've got one of the most dangerous duos in the league. But here's the crazy part, Falcons fans. London didn't even make the Pro Bowl. Not as a starter, not as a reserve. How did that happen? We're talking about a guy who had better stats than some of the wide receivers who actually made the Pro Bowl. Justin Jefferson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, CeeDee Lamb, and Terry McLaurin all got in. No doubt they're great players, but London should have been right there with them. And don't even get me started on the Pro Bowl reserves. Mike Evans, Jackson Smith-Njigba, Malik Neighbors, and A.J. Brown all made the list. Respect to them, but let's be real. London deserved a spot too. But here's the good news. The future of this offense looks incredible. Just look at the talent. Drake London, Bijan Robinson, and Kyle Pitts. That's a dangerous trio at the skill positions. And we can't forget about Michael Penix Jr., who took over at quarterback late in the season. With Penix running the show, London exploded in the last 3 games. 22 catches, 359 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's instant chemistry. You can already see the connection forming between Penix and London. And trust me, it's going to be something special in 2025. So, yeah, maybe the Pro Bowl voters messed up this year, but you can bet London is going to keep proving them wrong. And with Robinson hyping him up as the toughest guy on the field, you know this team is fired up to dominate. All right, Falcons fans, that's your inside scoop. Now it's your turn. What do you think about Robinson's comments on Drake London? And how do you feel about this Pro Bowl snub? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Now, let's talk about the rookie quarterback. He's been a standout performer at the end of the season. But here's the big news. He just got a huge shout-out from one of the greatest Falcons of all time, Michael Vick. Yep, you heard that right. From one left-handed gunslinger to another, Vick believes Michael Penix Jr. could be the long-term answer for this franchise. That's a big endorsement. Let's rewind a bit. Penix has always looked up to Vick. As a kid, he called Vick his favorite quarterback. He admired how Vick dominated both in the air and on the ground. And who wouldn't? Vick changed the game and became one of the most electrifying players in NFL history. But here's where things get really interesting. Just 2 days before the Super Bowl, Vick reflected on Penix's final 3 games of the 2024 season. And according to Vick, Penix has shown enough to be considered the guy for Atlanta moving forward. Here's what Vick had to say. I think Michael was balanced. Obviously, he could have used more reps earlier in the year, but when it was his time, he stepped up. I see myself in him, coming in late when the games really mattered. I couldn't do that back then, but he showed enough to prove he's the future. That's high praise coming from a guy who knows exactly what it's like to carry a franchise. Being a young quarterback in Atlanta comes with a lot of pressure, and no one understands that better than Michael Vick. Let's not forget, Vick was the first overall pick in 2001, made 3 Pro Bowls with the Falcons, and became one of the most exciting players in NFL history. If he sees talent in Michael Penix Jr., you know it means something. Now let's talk about Penix's numbers in those last 3 games. Given the circumstances, they were pretty solid. 58 completions on 100 attempts, 737 passing yards, 3 passing touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 1 rushing touchdown, and in that final game against the Carolina Panthers, he went off. Penix threw for 312 yards and had 3 total touchdowns, pushing the game into overtime before a tough 44-38 loss. Vic didn't hold back on his excitement, saying, "It's his team now. I expect big things from Michael Penix because we know he can do it. We saw him dominate in college, and I don't think quarterback is a problem for the Atlanta Falcons moving forward." Now, here's something to think about. Vic's second season in the NFL was legendary. He made the Pro Bowl and finished 4th in MVP voting. Could Penix follow in his footsteps in 2025? Only time will tell. But one thing's for sure. He's got the skills, the talent, and now the confidence of one of the best to ever wear the red and black. So, Falcons fans, what do you think? Is Michael Penix Jr. the future of this franchise? Can he live up to the hype that comes with Vic's endorsement? Let me know in the comments below. There's been a lot of talk about what the Falcons need to do this offseason to take the next step. One thing is clear. There are some tough decisions ahead, especially when it comes to the veterans on this roster. And today, we're talking about defensive end Lorenzo Carter. Carter has been with the Falcons for 3 seasons after starting his career with the New York Giants. But let's be honest, his 2024 season was disappointing. He started 11 games, played in 13, and was on the field for nearly half of the Falcons' defensive snaps. Yet somehow, he finished the season with 0 sacks. That's the first time that's ever happened in his career, and it gets worse. Carter only managed 32 tackles, 3 total pressures, 0 sacks. If you're wondering how that stacks up against other pass rushers, the answer is edge rushers in the league. That's a huge red flag for a defense that already struggles, ranking 19th in opponent yards per play. And when Carter dropped into coverage, yikes, he allowed 13 receptions on 13 targets, 115 yards, a 103.5 passer rating. So here's the big question. Should the Falcons bring him back in 2025? Honestly, it's hard to justify. If you can't rush the passer, struggle in coverage, and don't defend the run well, what's your role on a team trying to win? Letting Carter walk in free agency might actually be an addition by subtraction move. It would give the Falcons a chance to invest in younger, more dynamic talent. And with the 15th overall pick in the upcoming draft, there's a golden opportunity to add a game-changing edge rusher or defensive lineman. But it's not just about the draft. The Falcons must be aggressive in free agency, too. This defensive line needs true playmakers if Atlanta wants to compete at a higher level next season. It's never easy to move on from a veteran, especially one who showed so much promise in the past. But sometimes, change is the best decision for both the player and the team. And for Carter, that might be the reality he's facing as the Falcons look toward the future. All right, Falcons fans, it's your turn. Should the team move on from Lorenzo Carter and focus on rebuilding the defense? Or does he deserve one more shot? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget, like this video and subscribe for more exclusive Falcons content. Go Falcons! Football on fire!